What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of Sex Education. Here we have my colleagues Joe Worsley here, Mike Amelia, your two lovely hosts of Sex Education. They've been taking through a lot of tutorials throughout the country with themselves, whether it's virtually. Obviously, today we're going to go virtually. We have a special edition today. We're going to go through the 1%. If you've been on any of our pages, you've seen is the top setters in the 17s class coming in Knoxville, Tennessee to duke it out to find one of one. Joe Worsley, you want to give a little more history of where this came from and what this event actually is?
The 1% for us has been something that has been in the making now for 2 to 3 years, maybe even more than that, to be honest. Micah and myself have always been sports fanatics. I think we, like any sport, anything competitive, we've always been very interested in since we were kids. I know for at least for myself. In the sport of volleyball, I think there's a lot of different things that are growing and building. And this specific event is going to allow us to create something that is not out there in the volleyball space. We're going to be bringing out 12 of the top setters in the 2027 class. They're going to be mentored and be working under a series of strength conditioning coaches, professional and collegiate coaches, athletes, as well as some of the most successful players in the history of the sport in the setting position. We're really excited about the staff. I'm not going to say yet. We're going to be officially announcing one by one what the staff is going to look like here in the next coming weeks. But overall, this event is going to come out. There's going to be a whole docu-series accompany with the event. It's going to be a 4 to 5 day period where they come in, compete, learn, all on court, off court. There's going to be a lot of elements to it. There's going to be kind of a draft style, NFL combine style event at the beginning, as well as media day. There's going to be a lot of aspects to the event that are unique that we're working on building out right now and are just really excited about. Micah has been kind of my partner in crime. We've been each other's partner in getting this thing going in the past couple months. And I know there's a lot of questions about like what this event will look like, but we do know and believe that this is going to be something that is going to be prominent in the sport of volleyball for the junior athletes here in years to come.
All right, let's go down the list here of the top 12 athletes that were chosen by Joe and Micah here. We're going to go through the girls first. This is who we believe are the top 8 girls in the class of 2027 that were invited to the 1%. And this is in no particular order. Out of Nebraska, plays for VC Nebraska, McKinley Moser. Also out of Nebraska, plays for Nebraska 1. Mallory Bosinger. Out of Texas, played for Texas Advantage, Sophie Peterson. Out of Texas, played for Austin Junior Volleyball, Amelia Albbright. Out of Michigan, played for Legacy Volleyball Club, Marley Smith. Out of Georgia, played for A5 Volleyball Club, Marissa Jones. Out of California, plays for Mizuno Long Beach, Lucky Fasavalu. From Tampa, Florida, plays for OTVA, Sophia Dostich. Those are our top 8 selections for girls. Now let's go to the guys. These are our top selection for the class of 2027. 4 boys that are being invited to the 1%. Again, these are in no particular order. Out of California, plays for Rockstar Volleyball Club, Aloius Holder. Out of California, plays for Beta Bay, Nolan Marks. Out of California, plays for 949 Volleyball Club, Chase Wallen. Out of Hawaii, plays for Spike and Surf, Oliver Fujikake. Those are the 4 guys and the 8 girls that are invited to the 1%. First off, why is there 8 girls? Why is there 4 boys? And what was the process of analyzing and cutting it down to your final 12?
If you're new to the volleyball space, it's pretty obvious from within the volleyball space that there are a lot more women playing volleyball in the United States right now. It's one of the biggest sports for women. Obviously, the collegiate level is huge right now. And then on the men's side, the opportunities are a lot smaller. There's a lot less athletes. And so we just wanted to represent the real numbers behind the sport. We're trying to get more guys, but with the state that it's currently in, it just made sense to have 8 girls and 4 boys. And so that's how we're going to do it until the numbers maybe change one day, but we'll see.
Year after year, we might add more spots open. That'll be conversations for future years for us. But at least for this year, yeah, that was kind of the breakdown and like the layout that we wanted to feature. So just based on conversations with several college coaches, people who are in the space of analyzing and on-site with these athletes and just a lot of information that we collected. There's a lot more arguments, I would say, for more like depth on the girl side. There's a lot more people fighting for some of the girls down, that we were looking at. We appreciate also, I want to shout out all the families who were on kind of that final long list, who submitted all the video and gave us further ability to analyze these athletes.
Throughout the years, is it always going to be like being female dominated in terms of the invitees? Or
the cool thing with this event is it has the ability to mold into kind of however the current ecosystem of the volleyball world is. And I think there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to take away from the event that like we want to change, maybe we want to adapt. I'm just saying like we're not set on specifically like 12 athletes and it's going to be 8 and 4 every single year. I think they'll come down depending on the year and depending on the state of volleyball. We want to make sure that it's a really high level event. We're bringing in the top setters who have the biggest potential at the next level and future levels that we feel and are going to also open up opportunities. I think you'll see heading into year 2, offer up a lot of opportunities for everyone to get a fair look, both in person and video coming to this event. This year is really about proof of concept, if I'm being honest. We're just creating kind of the final stage. You'll see here in the future how it's going to be built out in more of like a year-long process.
And then in terms of these athletes coming in and participating, what exactly are you going to be throwing them into? Like, what are they to expect? Like when they arrive, you fly them out. What should they expect?
From the moment they arrive, we don't have that exactly scheduled yet, but the concept is they're going to be learning how to become the best setters in the world. We think that the setting position is the most complicated position in sports or in volleyball. It should be taught by people that have done it at a really high level, because there's a lot of intricacies. There's a lot of things that you truly only get from experience that they're just hard to understand if you weren't a setter at a high level. So we want to put these young kids in the same room with some of the people that have done it for a long time. That includes classroom stuff. So watching film breakdown, technically, tactically. That includes working on the court with these people. That includes weight room. That includes nutrition talk, psychology. We can't exactly say yet, but we have some mental coaches, I guess you can call them, that are going to come in and help mentor these athletes, because the mental side is super important as any athlete, but I think especially as a setter. And so those are some of the things that we have in store for the people that are coming. There also will be some other things, like I think we have a media day and some other things that'll be thrown in there too to have some fun and meet new people and things like that.
Micah hit on kind of the overall concept, but a big thing for me with this event is I want to see like response to failure. I think setters have the most mentally demanding job in volleyball, as Micah was speaking about. Biggest thing is like in a match, it's really easy when things are going great and things are flowing and clicking and stuff. It's like, okay, as soon as maybe the game plan's not working, maybe like have some hitters that are just like cold in certain matches. There's a lot of those aspects of things that I want to see how setters adapt to, as well as how they execute game plans and coachability. And so there's going to be obviously a lot of technical stuff. I think volleyball is one of the most technical sports in the world, and specifically the setter position. And so there's going to be a lot of aspects of like one-on-one, like very like skilled type of work. But then there's also going to be some like a lot of situational stuff. Like we're going to put the setters in different situations. There's going to be growth and like working one-on-one to make these players better, but also there's going to be an aspect where they're going to be competing against each other, and we want to see how they do that in several ways. And so we're going to be bringing in athletes, college level athletes, to come be live hitters, put out different types of defensive schemes and stuff, and see how we can execute game plans, see how we respond to certain stuff in more game-like situations, as well as, you know, slow things down and create really cool things. There's going to be a lot of metrics kind of created. I wouldn't say we're super big on like numbers all the time, but I think there's a good balance in there. It's like, okay, to a certain degree, metrics and statistics can show you something. There's going to be a balance of that, as well as kind of the eye test. Like there's going to be a lot of analysis, and we want to make sure that the athletes are getting a lot out of this event.
Is there like an exact grading scale? Have you guys kind of figured that out yet? Of like, okay, this is the grading scale. You get a point for here or a point there or deducted, or is it mainly just going to be open-ended discussion once the event wraps up and discussing throughout the event?
There's 100% going to be like on certain things like numbers associated with. So we're going to be able to like see numbers and put them in order based on that. But then 100% there's going to be like an eye test, if you want to say. Like I think anybody knows, you watch any sport, it's like, all right, maybe on statistics that player didn't have great, but when you watched it, it's like, okay, they made a big difference because certain factors in it. And so there's going to be a mixture of all, like through the docu-series, through all the media and through all that stuff, you'll be able to see, for people who aren't there, like what that process looks like. But there's going to be a bunch of stuff where we're going to have numbers and be able to look at that. And then there's going to be like, all right, we're going to have discussions and stuff. And all that stuff is going to be put on camera for you guys to see, like how we view the setter position, how we value different elements of the setter position as well. We have like really, really great staff who like really played volleyball at the highest level for many years, coach volleyball at the highest level. And I think view the game in different ways, but also understand what it takes to win and be successful at the highest level in this position.
I want to touch upon that doc-series really quick, just because I was obviously tasked with making sure we have a sick doc-series crew. There'll be a full doc-series coming out, 3 to 5 episodes post of the event, and it's going to be super sick. We're building it out of a lot of different events that we've seen. Like as we talked about before, a big inspiration for this event was the Elite 11. So that's kind of the style it's going to happen. It'll be released on YouTube along with other media here. So we're super, super stoked about that. Now that you guys get a gist of what the 1% is, how we came up with our process, what to expect, we're going to go through some video here so Joe and Micah can show exactly how the process of choosing the players went. So we're going to go through, we chose 4 players here, 3 girls, 1 guy, randomly selected here, and Joe and Micah here are going to take us through what that judgment process was like. First guy we got here, Aloius Holder, plays for Rockstar Volleyball Club. Micah, you want to give a quick analysis?
This guy really stood out on the film to me personally. I think that he slings the ball, and I think he's really fun to watch. He's creative. He's got talented hands. We actually didn't hear a lot about him from like a lot of the coaches that we reached out to on the boys side. But when we saw him on film, he immediately stood out to me in particular, and then Joe as well. So yeah, let's hit play. Let's watch some of his stuff. I think he's got the ability to set any ball from anywhere on the court, which I really like about him. You can see him running middle in situations that aren't perfect. He can play long way. He can play short way. He opened up with a pipe. He's got fast hands. The ball comes out of his hands really quickly, which we like. And he's balanced a lot of the time. He's a fun player to watch. Looks like a little undersized. The hard part about this process is that a ton of in-person work that we get to have with these players before we're seeing them. And the film isn't always incredible. And so we've got to go off of what we can see. And from this video, I think he's a top contender for sure to win. I think he's a great setter. You can see he's just able to play every ball on the court from everywhere. Got a good serve, good defense, a nice celebration too. I think that like the body language and the intangibles also they're easier to pick up when you're in person with these players, but you're trying to see what their characteristics are like on the video.
For me, obviously there's a highlight tape. So you're always understanding that this is like probably a lot of their top plays. But the biggest thing for me is just how you pointed out how balanced he is all the time. So everything he does, like in serve and defense, he's just so in control of his body. And I think that's always a positive with shorter setters. I'm in that boat, so I have the understanding. Like he just is so in control. His feet are to the ball every single time. He's in the same position. For me, that stands out a lot and allows him to play kind of the same ball from every different part of the court. There's a lot of benefits there. When we're looking at a pure setter, 100%, like Micah said, I think he's got a legitimate shot to compete at the event. It's gonna be, obviously putting into game situations as we challenge him, like how he responds to that. I think is going to be something that we're looking for. Just when you're looking at the pure like physical side of it, like. There's a lot of stuff that immediately popped out to both Micah and I once we got into his video.
Let's go ahead and move on to the girls' side here. Next up, we have Marley Smith, again, out of Michigan, Legacy Volleyball Club here. We're going to go through some video. And again, Micah, Joe, just give us your thoughts kind of in this process of why you chose her, what you exactly liked about her. Remember, you also sent me this video here. And out of the few contestants I did watch, she was actually one of my favorites here. So let's go ahead and take a look at some video.
Marley, for me, stood out in several ways than one, more than just like the physical setting side. In the videos, and obviously, again, it's a highlight tape, but I was really impressed just with her energy on the court too. Like she seemed very involved, like the leader of her team. She was involved, connecting with her team. We just really liked her long distance ball. I think that stood out to us. And that's usually a difficult ball, especially for younger athletes, because there's a couple elements that you have to arrive good at the ball. You have to be strong, balanced. And that's something for us that we realized she stood out with compared to a lot of other athletes too. And so she was one that we identified pretty early that she was going to be invited. Again, be looking out here for some of those long distance balls, how she arrives, as well as maybe her just kind of presence on the court that stood out to all of us.
Right off the bat, you can tell she's just got some really creative plays, like one-handed or on the ground, on her knees, going back. That also is just fun to watch. And
that ball right there is impressive.
Cool to see.
You can tell, like, just in the video, like, very confident setter, which is important. Like, for me, you don't want tentativeness. You don't want, like, she's aggressive, attacking the ball, gets her feet quick to the ball, isn't afraid to, like, make difficult sets. The one thing for sure when we're looking at younger athletes, and again, I keep reiterating, it's a highlight tape, so it's highlighting, like, a lot of top plays. For sure, when you make those types of sets, there's probably a handful of them that aren't hittable balls sometimes too, even at the highest level. So I think that's something we'll probably be talking about. I was like, all right, when are we trying to make these difficult sets versus not? That's something we'll talk about at the event with these athletes. And she has the ability to do some really great stuff. You see all these scramble plays and these, defenses that are low or passer low or far away. And it's like, she's saving the ball, putting up hittable balls. And that just shows the athleticism. For me, I love like my setter to be super athletic. I want them to be able to deal with that, because as you get to the higher levels, there's going to be a lot of situations where you got to be able to track down balls and put up hittable situations. And so that's just something that stood out to us immediately, just going over a series of videos of her. And I think you can see just in these short clips here what stood out to us as well. And so I'm really excited. And I think Micah even pointed out earlier for me that she was one that I was really big on early. And so we knew pretty quickly just from seeing that we wanted to get her to the event and are excited about it.
All right. Thank you, Micah and Joe. The cool thing about this also is that everyone, including yourselves at home, will be able to see the process of everything we're talking about now, whether it's like Joe said, she can make the flashy sets, but can she make consistent sets? So this is something that you guys will be able to see in real time. If you're watching this video now, fast forward, Docu-series comes out in the summer, you get to see it And you get to see, okay, we are evaluating what we're talking about now. And you get to see as well from your seats at home. Did she succeed? Did it not go as planned? All right, let's go to McKinley Moser again out of Lincoln, Nebraska, VC, Nebraska. Joe, Micah, what are your thoughts on her?
I really liked McKinley. I thought that she had a lot of creativity. She had really good feet to ball. And like we've talked about with all the players, that's a huge thing, especially at the early stages. If you like understand how important feet to ball is, I didn't understand how important it was until a little later in my career. It just makes the game easy. It makes it easier on your hitters. And so I really like that about McKinley. We can pull up the video now and check it out. McKinley also she has a lot of these face to the net plays that I think, I don't know, they're interesting. They're definitely her style.
But she looks controlled.
She looks in control, but I like when a player has a style. They have something that is unique to them, that changes the game in a small way. That's pretty cool about her.
One thing you want to see like from a setter for sure is like the percentage they're putting up like hittable balls, or my coaches at Hawaii, they would always say killable, which is true. You want them to be able to like score on balls. The best setters put up the most amount of balls that are able to be scored on. Like, yeah, it's nice to be flashy and stuff, but you need to also put up balls that hitters can swing on, get their feet to. And that's what one thing that we were looking for is like, all right, how consistent of a ball are they delivering? Or hitters are like getting their feet there and it just looks smooth. I think when the offense just looks smooth and easy, like that for me is always a good indicator of the setter. For sure.
And I think though that there are some elements that Gage talked about this of the event that we understand, and not everyone has had the same access to coaches and I'm not saying that in terms of McKinley or any of these players, but it hasn't been an even playing field up until this point. And so part of like the evaluation process by the end is also going to be about how much information did this player take from the event and like how much did they change? How much did they improve? How coachable and like adaptable are they as a person and an athlete? And I think that's going to be the fun part of seeing, like, it helps if you can do these creative things, but if then we're telling you like, hey, mix that in a little bit, but you've got to be more consistent, and they're actually able to then do that. Like Joe said about Marley and a lot of these players, that's going to be interesting to see.
So you have a player like McKinley in your evaluations for her, for example, like you said, she has a lot of those sets placed in that going here. She's a little more tricky. How do you make a showcase in combine where it can also show that side of an athlete and being able to explore that and also evaluate that?
Joe can answer this as well, but I think there are going to be a lot of live elements. It's not going to be like coach's toss. It's going to be a real game situation, and they're going to be able to be themselves. And we want them to be themselves. We want them to showcase what their volleyball is. And hopefully by then we've helped them along the way. It's probably those live sessions are going to be mostly towards the end of the camp. So hopefully they can take some advice that we have for them, try and work them into their game with, and I know it's so difficult. It's going to be within a span of 3 days. You go back to your comfort zone when you're in live situations. It's hard to experiment or try new things. And so there's going to be a balance of that as well. But in the live sessions, I think we'll definitely see more of their creativity and personality.
You had mentioned that you guys are going to be watching them after the 1% is done. Like you're going to be like tracking their progress to see if they...
Oh, for sure. A big part of our goal is to be able to like create a legacy of athletes that come through. I mean, we only have them for 3 to 5 days. We want them to come in, have a great experience, and then go on and like hopefully take a few things from this event and this experience and like go home with it and practice it and put it into their game. And then we'd love to see them go on to have success in their careers, win a national championship or set in the Olympics in 36 or stuff like that. Would be really would show the success, not of our event. Our event won't be a tiny piece in their career, but we'd be stoked to be a part of their story, even a small part of their story.
Shortly, with some announcements coming out, there's going to be ability for a lot of these setters probably to still stay connected to this event in a way. There's going to be involvement from current college setters in a very specific way. I 100% see like a lot of these setters coming back in 2 to 3 years being involved in a different way where they can help pass on their experience and stuff. And also them going through the event already. This is going to be the first crew of people and athletes who are going to go through this event. That's going to be different versus like the current college athletes who are going to come help. It'll be cool. Like as the years go by, we're able to create this and create something that stands out. We continue to make it like this really, really cool event, but also productive for these athletes.
So throughout this video, I know I've been mentioning the Elite 11. It's what we're doing in the 1%, except in football. So it's the Elite 11, the 11 top quarterbacks in the nation or around the top 11. And they're picked by Trent Dilfer and co. And they're doing the same exact thing with the combine. And eventually there's a champion at the end. So this is where the idea came from, the Elite 11. So if I'm mentioning that, that's what I'm referring to. But a lot of these kids, like you think you have a lot of setters out there, and this goes for any sport, any position a lot of time, that can hide their flaws, seem maybe better than they actually are because the team that they're on and the hitters that they actually have as a setter. Then you have people that maybe you chose that, okay, their team wasn't as highly ranked, but they had the potential? Was that something you guys looked into as well? Or was it just like, okay, these are the top 11 people that everyone tells me about, and we're just going to go with the top 11 that everyone recommended?
It's a combination of both. One thing for Micah and I that we said at the beginning is like, we don't want it to be just like popularity contests. Obviously, there's a lot of athletes who it's like, okay, it's clearly the best. I think when they win a lot and they're on teams that win a lot and they're champions, like that stands out, because usually your setter is pretty good if that's the case. And so anytime, I think you'll see that most of the top teams, probably their setters are being invited or in consideration pretty consistently. But it's a combination. There's a handful of names that are invited that we really didn't get from anybody else. Maybe one or two people had briefly mentioned, and we came across video or like stood out to us significantly. So by no means are we saying like, all right, this is for sure like the top setter. There's probably going to be setters that weren't exactly invited that are like, screw these guys, and use it as motivation, which is great, because I know personally that was something that I always had done growing up. You know, I was always an undersized setter. People had their opinions on me and use that as motivation. I want that to be the case. I want somebody to be in the Final Four 3 years from now who didn't get invited and like curses us out because we didn't invite him to this event or something. You know, there's no perfect way. And at the end of the day, we have to get to 12. It was just 12 that stood out to us in different ways. Like there's different reasons we invited different athletes. And it's not to say that they're the 12 for sure best setters. It's just like, as we were looking at these specific athletes across the field, like there's different reasons why we chose these specific ones.
All right, last video we're going to look at is Amelia Albbright out of Georgetown, Texas, plays for AGV. We're going to take a look at her.
I think something that stands out to me about Amelia is actually something that's a very not talked about thing very often, but is her body posture, like on the court. Joe talked about having a confident setter, having confident players. I think that she carries herself like very confidently, very comfortable on the court. And I think that's something that, like, just to bring up different concepts that we had while evaluating the players, because like Joe said it, or we've talked about, it's a highlight tape and you really can't get as much as you want out of it, like seeing them in person. But we are really trying to pay attention to the small things as well as like the setting. And so that's something that we're also trying to pick up on.
Yeah. And just good athlete. I think you saw like every setter that we showed even today is just like really solid athletes overall. That's one thing that I think we look for immediately, is just like the athlete they are. As we're looking, we're like, okay, the top teams right now at the NCAA level, like what are characteristics of their setters? What are like characteristics of top teams in the world right now? When you look at the pro level, like what are, top teams setters looking like and the characteristics of them? And so that's something that we kind of are going through a checklist and trying to identify. It's like all those setters are pretty athletic for the most part and good athletes. And there's certain attributes that we wanted to identify. And I think that was something that went into the selection process pretty heavy, to be honest.
That wraps up our film analysis portion here. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Again, the 1%, this is our first year. We're super excited about it. If there's anyone that you think we missed, put them down in the comments below. If there's anyone that you think that you're excited to see, also put that down below. We want to hear your feedback. Again, we're doing this because when we were younger, we thought this was a really good idea and we never had anything like this. So we're doing this for the kids at heart. And Joe, you want to give any information that they should know as of right now?
First, I want to start off by saying how appreciative of everyone who's going to be involved with this event and has been involved in this event. Number one at the top of our list for sure, Chris Hames and the Hames family. If anybody knows them personally or is aware of them, they're some of our favorite people in the volleyball community. They're out of Knoxville, Tennessee. It's actually the facility we're going to be using at K2 volleyball facilities. State of the art. You guys will see it all across our media through the Docu-series. Like it's going to be a really, really great event. I think we have a facility to match like the magnitude of what we want to make this event. There's a lot of people who are going to be part of this event. We're excited to announce the staff. Congratulations to all invited. Everybody who is considered, congratulations also. We want to make this a long-lasting event and concept that people want to be a part of, and we want to continue to open up opportunities. So thank you everybody who's been following along. We're really excited about it. Follow along. There is an Instagram page, the 1% Elite Setter Combine. Follow along there. There's going to be a lot of information going out in the next few months. If you're 2028 already, 2029, be on the lookout, because that stuff's going to be coming out in the next few months as well, heading into next year, like what that evaluation process. There's going to be more live in-person opportunities for people to be a part of this heading into the future. But we wanted to show you guys a little bit of proof of concept this year and kind of hosting this final stage of what it's going to look like. There's a lot of really, really cool things in the works and the plans. Thank you everybody who's been involved up till this point. And yeah, excited to release and share new information in the coming weeks.